Well, I guess to be determined. It would be the right move for Christopher Wray. I mean, to make the president or force the president to fire you. It's not a good way to exit. He served his country. I would argue that the Justice Department, the FBI, has been weaponized against the American people. So if I'm President Trump, I would want the opportunity to fire him, considering the FBI rifled through his son's drawers, his wife's, panties drawer. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous over some documents that they simply could have requested, and in good time the president would have given over. So it's time for Christopher Wray to go, and it's time to have someone in there like Kash Patel who's going to restore trust into that institution that at one point in America, young boys would want to go into law enforcement and want to aspire to be a part of the FBI, and now it has a stain on its storied history, and that needs to be repaired.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. A lot of news this morning, Congressman. The pressure is still remaining on Pete Hegseth, President Trump's choice for defense secretary. I know you, as a congressman, won't have that advise and consent role. It's the Senate. But yesterday we saw the unusual development of Hegseth's mom going on Fox News to defend him and really to scold the media, the New York Times specifically, for publishing a private email that she sent her son years ago. Then a couple hours later, by the way, after she sent that email 7 years ago, she apologized, took it back, but they didn't include that in the story. Hegseth, anyhow, is saying that he's not going to step aside. What do you think's happening here? To me, I saw him being interviewed by Megyn Kelly. We're going to play some of that later in the show. He has a redemption story, in the sense that he admits to stuff that he did 7 years ago that was not in good standing. He doesn't admit to anything illegal, but he admits to not being the person he is today because he found Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. I mean, if you go with the redemption story, that seems like it could resonate and help him here.
Well, as an elected official, people say horrible things about us all the time that aren't true. They put it out there, it's reported in the media, and it becomes fact without actually being proven. And so I think, as a Christian, as someone who is a man of faith, I take him at his word. And, and I just look to who is he as an individual and what are his capabilities in leading this organization. And what you see here is a man who wants to root out the rot and the corruption, the wokeness that's in the military. He said, I was with Pete yesterday. He and I text regularly. In fact, as soon as we get off the hit here, I'm going to be texting him words of encouragement this morning. But that being said, he said he wasn't elected to president. Donald Trump was, and his job is to execute the vision and the mission that the president sees for that department. And so I think he is someone who's loyal to the president. He gets the president's vision. He can communicate with the president, and the president trusts him. And at this time in our nation, when we have an administration that has really been, and again, I'll say it again, weaponized against the American people, we need individuals who are going to go in, clean house, and fix institutions, because we all know it's broken. We all know there's full of waste, and Pete Hegseth is the guy to do it. And he has my support as long as his name's in the running.
Congressman, your state of Tennessee is leading the way, if you will, when it comes to protecting transgender children from hormone replacement and that kind of thing. I want to bring your attention, of course, to yesterday's Supreme Court hearing, during which your state, was basically arguing for its law that, in fact, would limit access to hormone therapy and that kind of thing for kids dealing with transitioning under 18 years old. Do you think that the Supreme Court will ultimately rule with Tennessee, and will Tennessee ultimately be the precedent-setting state when it comes to these sorts of issues in your mind?
Well, I'm biased, but I'm proud of my state. I was just ranked the second most conservative member of Congress, and that's because Tennessee produces great conservatives. But that being said, as my good friend, Senator Jack Johnson, led the way on this issue, the governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee, was here yesterday. And when you listen to some of the oral arguments, I do think that the Supreme Court will agree with the state of Tennessee. And look, transitioning a minor is child abuse. This would not have been a conversation just a few years ago. Look, it's a free country. If you're a dude and you want to wear a dress, it's a free country. You look ridiculous, but that's your decision. But let me tell you, a dude in a dress is still a dude. And if you try to transition a child, you are guilty of child abuse. And every doctor, every nurse, every clinician that is helping and aiding that is culpable in that crime, and they should be charged as such.
Thank you for saying that, by the way. Go ahead, Gina. But thank you. I mean, honestly, if I can just say the word, I know this isn't a popular word to say today, but I'll say it. It's transvestite. It's a transvestite. I mean, that's what they are. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm not trying to demonize anybody, but that's the deal. Sorry, Gina, go ahead. I'm glad you said that, Congressman.
Well, and I just want to echo how proud I am of you being ranked at that conservative at the very top of the list. I know how that feels. That's a huge honor. My husband received that award as well for his work in Missouri as a senator there. And of all the awards he ever had, I can't name them, but he had, you get tons of awards. Every group awards you. That's the one that sticks out in our mind and we're the most proud of and felt the most gratified for. So heartfelt congratulations on that.
Well, thank you.
Congressman, we're seeing a number of Democrats in Congress and the local state offices working to block any immigration crackdown from the incoming Trump administration. Here's one of the latest Democrats to join in this revolt. Senator Cortez Masto of Nevada posted, "I remember the calls I would get in my office during the first Trump administration from families that were under threat because of the immigration chaos he created. President Biden has the power to protect immigrant families, and I'm calling on him to use it." Congressman, that sounds like a call for blanket amnesty. Do we need to worry that in all the crazy things, look, predictive pardons and all the rest of it, that Joe Biden might do something like that, like blanket amnesty for every illegal who's in this country right now?
Well, you would hope not, and it would have to be done by executive order. So, quickly the president could undo it, President Trump. I mean, but that being said, no amnesty. No amnesty and no amnesty. If you came here illegally, you should have to leave this country. You should have to go to the back of the line. And you should have to go through the process. Look, my wife's grandmother came here from Honduras as an 11 or 12-year-old little girl. She came through the port of New Orleans. She came here legally. She grew up in this country. So I believe in legal immigration. I have a beautiful family because a young girl came here to this country legally to pursue an education. But that being said, if you are here in violation of our law, you have forfeited your right to be a citizen. I'm sorry. Look, if I go to the UAE, if I go to France, if I go to Germany and I want to work, I have to get a work permit. And if I break their laws, they're going to grab me by the scruff of the neck and they're going to kick my butt out of the country. It's really not that complicated.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And there's lots of countries that do it that way. And so we have to recognize that we are a sovereign nation. We get to decide who comes in and we get to decide who has to leave.